Welcome to episode 66 of Pinnacle FC, the number of the great Mario Lemieux. Are you familiar with Mario Lemieux? Super Mario, Jake Osgathorpe? No? You're shaking your head?
I know Super Mario, but I don't know Mario Lemieux.
Yeah, like
Show
Mario
my age, maybe.
Luigi. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's one of the greatest hockey players of all time. It's probably more of a
Oh.
Canadian or of an American thing than someone from the UK. But there we go, number 66, and here we go. You can feel free to throw out some great number 66s in your own time, or really it just goes back to the year England only won the World Cup. That's it,
Yeah,
66, right? So,
that's it. Yeah, I think the only one that springs to mind recently is Trent Alexander-Arnold. He weren't bad at Liverpool at number 66.
right.
But other than that, there's not many knocking around, is there?
No.
We've somehow
We're just
made it
hoping
this
that.
high.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the Mario to your Luigi, or vice versa. We just hope not to be a Koopa Troopa today and get stomped on. And we're hoping this is a super episode of Pinnacle FC. Look, we've gone off the rails already. Gareth Wheeler, Jake Osgathorpe with you. This is Pinnacle FC. We're breaking down all the biggest games coming up this weekend across European domestic football. Hit us up, give us a like, subscribe across whatever social media, video, audio platform that you consume this. And make sure you get involved in the comments as well. Let's turn this around. Let's start building our way back up. And a board that looks quite appeasing this week, which might be the death knell. We'll see how that actually goes out to work, because in recent weeks when we've really liked the board, I think punters and bettors across the board have really had a difficult time over the last few weeks. But we'll provide you the data as normal. And all the markets that we use are courtesy of Pinnacle as well. Bet smart, bet Pinnacle. How you feeling about this weekend, Jake? We're heading away from the European football that's being played this week, just in terms of the Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, and into the domestic game.
Yeah, I like the look of the Prem slate in particular. I think there's some really, real nice value to be had. Well, I guess you could call them upsets. Quite a lot of upsets I can see happening. That I think are underpriced. So yeah, looking forward to getting stuck into those. And he didn't like too much across Europe, I've got to say. I didn't have anything from the Liga. I really didn't like the La Liga slate, but you're usually the La Liga man, so you'll come up trumps with that.
I have notes on 6 games that caught my eye, but
Just the
I'm not
6.
sure if I love any of them. We're going to have to see where we end up here on this podcast. It's choose your own adventure, and we're just happy that you're choosing to spend some time with us. Okay, let's start off in the Premier League. What do you like about the board? Hold on, before we get into what you like about the board so much, let's go into a potential game with title ramifications. We kind of mocked it on Monday, but the way that Chelsea performed in a 4-0 win over Barcelona maybe gives more reason to believe in this Chelsea side, or Barcelona may have just been that bad on the day. Chelsea are at home. This game is being played at Stamford Bridge. Arsenal's had all kinds of success against Chelsea in recent vintage, and they're playing a Champions League match of their own, another big one, as they host Bayern Munich on Wednesday, a game that's being played after this podcast is recording. So, take that piece of information before you kind of jump on or stay away from anything that we might say here. But Chelsea, you can back them to win at home at plus 245, the draw at plus 239, plus 123 for an Arsenal win on Pinnacle, and the total set at 2.5. Let's start here, then we'll go elsewhere in the Premier League. So Chelsea Arsenal this weekend. How are you looking at this, Jake?
Yeah, Chelsea really did slap us in the face on Tuesday, didn't they? We were laughing beforehand because I signed off the pod pretty much by saying you just know Chelsea are going to win to 0, and they did. Barca did have the chances though when they had 11 men. Ferran Torres obviously had that real
just killed it. Oh
yes, yeah, it did. It made it very easy evening, and I guess the way in which Barcelona played after the sending off as well was. Well, it just meant that Chelsea could keep doing what they wanted to do. There was no deep line block, counter-attack, anything like that. So, yeah, I'm not too sure still how I rate this Chelsea team. Obviously, they are clearly better than what I thought they were when I backed against them on Monday. But I don't know if they're at Arsenal's level. But having said that, I don't know if I can back Arsenal at this price, plus 123, just 4 days after playing Bayern Munich, which is... Again, we're recording this beforehand. I said on Monday I'm not sure if it's going to have super high intensity that game because of the fact that both teams are quite comfortable going to finish in that top 8. So I'd like to see that game before pulling the trigger on a pro Arsenal game play. But yeah, it's just like, for me, Arsenal are the best team in the country. I'm very adamant that they're going to win the title comfortably, and I've been saying that to everybody that questions me, because their floor is just so much higher than everyone else's, and we saw it again last week with City dropping points, with Liverpool obviously losing again, and Arsenal just kind of keep grinding out those results. And I just think that in these kind of games they are so well suited to just they're the best defence in the league, and ultimately they're going to go there. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just went there and said, right, okay, we'll just stop you from playing and we'll take a draw. And then if you're still in a title race when we play you at the Emirates, we'll beat you at the Emirates when we've got a bit more fan support, home advantage, etc. But yeah, having said that, I do think plus 123 is too short at this stage. So I'm not going to go near the 1x2. I just think unders is the bet, minus 109. It seems so obvious, but sometimes the obvious play is the best. We've seen Arsenal's away games are very, very light on goals in general this season, just 12 goals in 6 away games, so average of 2 per game. Chelsea's games at home as well, 15 goals in 6, so again they're below that 2.5 threshold. Their home performances at Chelsea haven't been great. Obviously, they thumped Wolves 3-0, but Wolves are rubbish. They've obviously had a defeat to Sunderland, smash and grab win against Liverpool, defeat to Brighton. So there's definitely, draw with Crystal Palace. There's definitely reason why I'd be looking to fade Chelsea, but I just think taking the unders is the best way about doing that.
I just don't think that Arsenal are going to concede a goal in this game. I know that
Punchy.
Estevao is just... look, he's been outstanding, but now he's going to go up against a big test, because that Arsenal back line is the antithesis of the Barcelona back line, like the polar opposite. And I agree with you. I think that Arsenal's going to go to a place where their last 7 games against Chelsea they haven't lost, and they're just going to keep things tight. This is the recipe for success for Arsenal and Arteta. Look at the away games that they played this year. The best away expected goals against. I believe they've only conceded 4 goals away from home as well. And I just think that they're the better side here. And I think how to find the best value is not playing just the under straight up, which you can play at minus 109. I like, I can see it being a 1-0, 0-0, 2-0 at best. Both teams have scored no at plus 117. I think that is the best way to get on side if you expect it to be a low-scoring game, like I do in this one. So, yep, both teams scored no at plus 117. Not going to overthink this. Okay, you said you liked the board this week. What direction might you be going?
Yeah, I'm just taking all the dogs, really. All the underdogs. I think there's some great value. Yeah, it's the week of the dog.
Out, Jake Osgathorpe.
It really is. I think there's 5. I think I've got 5 down here that I think are all worthwhile backing. 5? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4? 4 underdogs that I like. The first one's Sunderland against Bournemouth. You back them on the handicap plus a quarter of a goal at minus 117. I'm shocked that we're getting Sunderland such a big price. Bournemouth have shown us nothing away from home to suggest they warrant being so short against a team unbeaten at home, and one that's got such a good, strong home underlying process. Not to mention the home field advantage that Stadium of Light provides, which we are starting to see every single time there's a game there. The 3-0 at home, Sunderland. Tight and cagey games, just 1.1 expected goals for, 1.1 expected goals against, and very few chances either way. But Bournemouth, they're 1, 2 and 3 away. They've been really poor. They're conceding 2.25 expected goals away from home, which is second only to Burnley in terms of the most conceded on the travels. And yeah, I think that the cherry on the cake, if you like, is the contrasting styles between Sunderland and Bournemouth. Bournemouth wanting to play that high press in the final third. Sunderland happy to play direct, soak up pressure, and make Bournemouth break them down. And that has been Bournemouth's kryptonite for the last 18 months under Iraola. Is actually having the invention to break teams down when they don't have the opportunity to press and recycle the ball in high areas. So I think the direct style of Sunderland is definitely going to see them a bit of success. So they're the first underdog that I quite like. I wouldn't put anybody off backing them to win the game as well at plus 214.
Okay. I'm completely swerving this. Antoine Semenyo looks like he's coming back into the Bournemouth team. Still put up a big XG last week, but you're right. Their away form has not replicated their home form whatsoever. They're very unlucky based on the data to come away with that 2-2 draw. West Ham punched at them early. But the data suggests that I was on the right side of things last weekend. Just didn't play out that way. Let's just move forward from there. What else do you like?
Yeah, we'll stick with the dogs. Everton, I'm really surprised they're an underdog against Newcastle for a number of reasons. Obviously, Everton playing very well in general, coming off a very good Monday Night Football win at home.
Yeah, you can call it that.
But it was. I mean, what more can you expect? You go down to 10 men, you score once, and then you limit Man United to very little. So I was very impressed with that as a performance. Obviously, they're missing Gay for this one, which probably is a good news because it means they won't be scrapping.
Players actually have a row on the field. It was what a night.
Yeah, I mean, why is the referee sending him off? I don't understand that. Like, just have a stern third talking to and say, look, give your head a wobble. Like, look what you're doing here. Do it again. Then you're going to get sent off.
It was a very weak version of Dyer versus Boyer. Like, very weak.
It was PG. There was Dyer and Bowyer had each other by the scruff of the neck.
I just love that it happened. By the way, like
it was so
brilliant.
wasn't it?
So yeah.
But yeah, Gay's going to be missing. But I think they've got enough cover.
How happy was Moisey after that? Oh, he's flying this week. He's he feels like he's a giant amongst men right now. So
just a bit.
Continue on.
The level on points with United and above Liverpool, so very, very good week for Everton. But yeah, they've been very good at home, 3-2-1. Their home process has been solid. 1.7 expected goals, 1.3 expected goal against, and their only loss came on a real off day against Tottenham, where it was Mickey van der Ven's set pieces that gave them the victory. So you've got a good Everton team, and you've got a Newcastle team that are just really, really poor travellers. Mentioned it numerous times on this show, mentioned it on Monday's show as well as to why I was hesitant to back them at Marseille, because they are very, very poor on their travels. They're 0-3-3 away from home this season, and in away league games following a midweek match, they are 0-1-2, and the two defeats came against West Ham in a game they were absolutely pathetic, and Brentford in another game in which they were really, really poor and conceded loads of chances. So only Wolves have created less expected goals in away games than Newcastle as well. So it's not just the fact that they're quite open, conceding goals and chances, but they're also very, very limited going forward. And I rate this Everton team. I think that they're a very, very strong side. And I'm just surprised you can back them draw no better at plus number, plus 101. I would have them favourites for this game personally. I'd probably have the market switch, so Everton would be probably plus 164, Newcastle plus 179. But yeah, I'll happily take the draw no bet at plus 101.
Okay, carry on. Nothing for me. Good one.
More tentative this one is Fulham at Spurs. We're getting a quarter of a goal this time at plus 107. But we just have to take it. Spurs are just pathetic. I mean, yeah, last week against Arsenal they were horrific. If it wasn't for Richarlison's 40-yard strike, which was one of only 3 shots in the entire game, then they would have blanked again. And that was away from home. And at home, they've been even more miserable. Just 1 win in 6, and that came in the very first home game against Burnley. And since then, they've averaged just 0.8 expected goals per game in front of their own fans, which is horrific. And I know what you're going to say, everybody. Fulham away from home are rubbish. They haven't won yet. You would be right, but they've had a very tough schedule away from home. They're 0-1-5, but they played away at Brighton, away at Chelsea, away at Villa, away at Bournemouth, away at Newcastle. All of those finished in the top 9 last season. And they played away at Everton in their new stadium. And as I've just said, I rate Everton quite highly. So I think that Fulham had a very difficult away schedule to open up, so we can't read too much into those results. But I mean, if you take big picture, there's very little between these sides on the underlying data. I think Spurs are 14th on expected points, Fulham are 15th, and there's like 0.1 expected point between them. So to have Spurs such strong favourites at plus 114, I think is a little bit too far. And Fulham, I think they're slowly going to improve. They've had a poor start to the season, but I think they'll get better. And yeah, Spurs, you give me plus a quarter.
Spurs also playing in Paris on Wednesday, which is going to be a very difficult game. Here's another factor. Christian Romero is suspended through accumulation for this match. the numbers with and without Romero, they're considerable. Without Romero, 26 games in the Premier League. Spurs have just won 6 of them, good for 23%. With Romero in the 11, 58 matches in the Premier League, 29 wins. They win 50% of their games when Romero's in the team. And even the shots conceded, they go from 12.3 with Romero into the team, and without him, it's up 4 entire shots at 16.3. So he's just such an important player for them. And with him out this weekend, it makes it very hard to back Spurs in this game. So yeah, I'm going to kind of plug my nose a little bit here. So there you go.
Love it.
Just every once in a while. I always deep dive. It's just that's kind of your bit on this show, and I just kind of sprinkle on top wherever I can.
No,
okay, I'm with you on Fulham. Yeah. When I wrote it down in my notes, the first line I said, I just cannot back Spurs, so I can't. And even if this game ends in a draw, it's a half win. At a plus 107, I think it's worth the play. All right. And your final dog that you're going to unleash.
Yep. We are. We are really going to unleash this one. West Ham against Liverpool. I never thought I'd be trying to get West Ham on side this season, but the signs are positive, and I think this is a good matchup for them. You can back them plus 397 to win the game. You can back them +1 on the handicap, so it's the biggest handicap of the 4 that we're covering. +1 is at -116, so if they lose by a goal, we get our money back. They've had 3 good results in a row now, West Ham, and I know they were fortunate against Bournemouth. It was a vintage Nuno. It was score a couple of goals and just hang on for dear life. But the 2 home games were very good. Scored 3 goals against both Newcastle and Burnley. Created plenty, and I think I might be drawing too much into this, but Nuno last season when he was manager of Forest went to Anfield and won and held Liverpool at home as well. And I do think that his style of play is. Well, Liverpool find it very difficult to kind of break them down. They created very few chances on both occasions as well, which I think is really important. And I know West Ham haven't got the personnel of Forest, but I think that they've got enough about them to make this very competitive. And then you factor in Liverpool have lost last 4 away games in the league, and they've lost 4 of 6 in total, conceding a nearly 2 expected goals against per game. And even the 2 wins in the start away from home at the start of the season was 3-2 at Newcastle, where they were playing against 10 men for 45 minutes, needed a 93rd minute winner, and against Burnley away, where they needed a 97th minute penalty to snatch a 1-0 win. So, I think Liverpool, there's a lot of talk after they beat Real Madrid, where they're back, they've got it sorted, but 3-0 slapping at Man City, losing 3-0 at home to Forest in such a tepid manner was, they've still not solved their issues, and West Ham can be the latest team to capitalise. So we are riding in with the Hammers.
Ooh, I'm going to leave that hammer in the toolbox. I said it last week, I just don't know what to expect from Liverpool. For me, they're not bettable, not backable right now. But well done. I understand the logic. I'm not as brave as you on that one. Anything else to mention, or do you want me to get into what sticks out to me?
Yeah, I've saved my 2 favourite bets for the end because they don't involve underdogs. So Brentford v Burnley. I like Brentford and both teams to score at plus 244. Kind of not contradicting, going against what I said last week about Burnley when we backed them to not score. But Brentford have conceded quite a lot of chances at home. I know they've played a tough schedule, 1 clean sheet in 6. But Burnley have been really good away from home in attack. So they've just 1 win, 5 defeats. But they've scored quite a few goals. They actually rank 11th for expected goals away from home, which is, well, it's the outlier really. When you look at Burnley's data overall, they are like 19th, 20th, and then you look at their away attacking numbers and it's 11th. That's the outlier. So they do create more away from home.
They're a nightmare. Defensively,
exactly,
absolute nightmare. So
they're a shambles away from watch in general. But they've scored in all 5 of the last away games, including obviously the Etihad. Scored 3 at Wolves. The only blank came in the very first game away at Tottenham. So yeah, Brentford winning both teams to score, I thought was a nice way to boost the price, and I think it's more likely that Brentford win and concede than win and keep a clean sheet.
Yep, well done. I was looking for a way to get on side with Brentford, Burnley, like from a data perspective, one of the more lopsided games of the week. I just couldn't fully commit to that, but that is one way you can get on side with Brentford in that one. And your favorite bet, or one of your favorite bets, let's go with your other
Yeah.
one.
And finally, Crystal Palace, Manchester United. The Eagles, they are not underdogs. They are the firm favourites at plus 144 to win. I have no issues backing them to do that. But I do think the better bet is backing Palace to score 2 or more goals at plus 118, as opposed to taking them to win the game. Yeah, they're just a legitimately good team, Crystal Palace. 5th in the table, 4th for expected points. At home, they are 2-4-0, so they're unbeaten, but they've only won twice, which is a bit of a concern for that home win bet. But they're averaging over 2 expected goals per game. And Manchester United, away from home, they do not travel well defensively, conceding 2 expected goals against per game. They've conceded 2 or more in 4 of 6 away matches. Still no Cunha and Sesko, which would be a positive for that Palace win. Bet at plus 144, but I just think we trust Palace's attack to breach United at least twice here, and if United do find something, then fair enough. But yeah, I really like that number, plus 118.
Just the only caveat there, the reason why I pulled back from that bet is you mentioned it. No Sesko, no Cunha, which means like they're playing a lot of defenders in that team. And it just might be they might be playing for like seriously
That doesn't
1-0.
matter.
No.
If Everton had 11 men on the pitch, they'd have scored twice on Monday.
What I'm trying to suggest is it's very unlikely that United are going to be able to go and score those goals, or
right,
great enough 11v11. So it might be just a lower scoring game. I just think the safer play is Palace on the handicap at a quarter of a goal at plus 113. If they draw, you get half your stake back. But that would be my angle on that one. You just can't back this United team without Cunha and Sesko. Those players are vitally important. And when you're not playing European football, you can have a smaller squad. But when you lose 2 players like that, the players that are coming in are just nowhere near the level or provide nowhere near the threat to make United a side to back. A little bit surprised you're not backing Man City here because they take on Leeds United, who are away. And look, this might be a little chalk and straight, but I think you're getting a little bit more juice based upon the fact that City have lost back-to-back games. And quite clearly, Pep Guardiola is prioritizing getting a result on the weekend because he made 10 changes midweek in the Champions League, losing to Leverkusen at home. I expect a response. I expect really good players like Holland to come back into the team. And what we know about Leeds United, I think they provide much more of a threat at home than they do away. Just simply put, like away, they're futile. So I think to back City to win to 0 over Leeds in a statement bounce back win, this is what they do at home against bad teams, year in, year out, week in, week out in the Premier League. Poor teams don't come in and do damage against this Man City team. City to win to 0 at plus 108. I have no problem making that bet. The other play, we're just about covering all the teams. The great Daichi football, mind is back in the Premier League. And Nottingham Forest, they're moving in the right direction. Not only beating Liverpool last week 3-0, it's the fact that they won the XG battle in their last 3. And Deitch is more like their previous manager, not named Ange Postecoglou, where let's build off a solid defensive structure and use some talented players that can make a difference in transition to be a real threat. And that's exactly what they've done. Brighton away from home aren't the proposition that they are at home. So I think it sets up well. Nottingham Forest on the handicap. It's a 0. It's a draw no bet at plus 104. Forest have got a little bit momentum here. They play to a very good identity that worked for them last season. And if you add Forest, their team last season going against Brighton last season in this situation, I think you'd be getting way less juice than you're getting right now. So it's based upon the data on the season, not the data under Sean Deitch, as he's got them back on track. So Forest 0 at plus 104. That is a very good play from my perspective. That's it in the Premier League. We spent a lot of time there. Jake's already announced he doesn't really like the La Liga board this weekend. Do you want me to just go through quickly, or do you have anything else to add on the Prem?
No, you can spin through La Liga. I do have one Liga in play, a little bit of a rogue one later.
Ooh, okay, good. I lead Mallorca. Both teams have scored no under 2.5 against Osasuna at plus 106. I don't quite frankly, trust either side. And for whatever reason, Mallorca, because their data just isn't very good, a lot of those games have been going over 2.5 for whatever reason, and Osasuna can't defend, but you're going up against a real stale attack in Mallorca. So that would be the way that I would slice and dice that one. Atletico Madrid against Real Oviedo. It's kind of a straight up play as well. Oviedo is one of the bottom two teams in terms of away performance and data on the season. They're going to a really tough place where Atletico Madrid lead La Liga in home expected goals. So I'm fine backing Atletico Madrid on the handicap at 1.75 goals, 1.75 at -114, or even better, Atletico Madrid to win in over 2.5 at -112. Don't look now, Real Sociedad's playing some really good football, and Villarreal just got pasted in the Champions League. Yes, they had a player sent off and won fourth at Borussia Dortmund, but they're going to a Sociedad side who's banging form right now, and Villarreal, simply put, just a poor away side. So I'd back Sociedad on the 0 handicap again, the draw no bet at -103. Sociedad has been a beast over recent weeks, winning both the XG battle in multiple games in a row, as well as the games in general. So I think they're an informed team to bank on. And Real Madrid at Girona. Madrid -1.25 handicap at -114 is a good enough play. I'd even play it out to the Asian handicap, a goal and a half at +107. This game has a 2-0 result written all over it. Honestly, if there's a game that says 2-0, it's this one. You just cannot back Girona. And Real Madrid needs to maintain the pace. And I think that there's some vulnerability in this Barcelona side right now. So I think that's a big game on the weekend for Real Madrid. Serie A, anything in Italy this weekend?
Just the one, which is it's a swing because we've not seen a lot at this stage, but I think back in the overs in the Atalanta game again, -109. It's a fairly low total, 2.5 compared to what we used to seeing under Gasperini. But I think we just have to take it. I mean, Fiorentina have gone over in all the last 3 away games, and obviously Atalanta, they was it 3-1 last week against Napoli. Obviously back in midweek. We wait to see how that goes. But yeah, I just think that this is whenever I see now a line set 2.5 for an Atalanta game, I'm looking towards back in the overs because I do think they're going to be playing more attack minded under the new coach.
Yep. Okay. I have the same play written down. I do like a few other plays better. Udinese are in terrible form. They're playing at Parma. Have actually played decent as of late. Parma on the 0. Again, the draw no bet at -109. I wouldn't swerve anyone away from that. I really like Inter to win to 0 at Pisa this weekend. Inter need to bounce back after losing to AC Milan last week. Pisa, just in terms of their home form, 1 goal scored in 6 games played so far. They've only conceded 2, mind you. But man, what a wild start to the season at home for the promoted side. But going up against Inter for a team that's futile in terms of scoring at home, that's a decent context at +113. I also like Roma on the Asian handicap. It's at -0.25 goal at +120 against Napoli. Scott McTominay just can't keep on bailing out this Napoli side over and over and over again. And Roma continue to play very well. And in a low-scoring game, I think that it might suit both teams, but I'll back the home side in Roma a little bit more. And I still think there's value in backing Bologna at home on Monday. On the handicap, it's a full goal at -123, but take it. Cremonese is 2-2 away from home on the season, but their data and their process is the worst. The worst expected goal total or expected point total in Serie A this season. They have been that bad. And Bologna, one of the best home sides, they simply just don't get beat. I think they can run them around the field. Cremonese also the highest expected goals against away from home in Serie A as well. So get that number while you can. If it shifts out any further, I'm not touching it. Okay, let's go to the Bundesliga this weekend. Anything catching your eye, Jake?
Just one again for me, and it's the Wheeler special. Bayern Munich, St. Pauli,
Come on.
BTTS no and over 2.5. Big number, plus 170. St. Pauli away from home scored just 3 goals in 5, creating less than one expected goal per away game. And the only kind of nagging doubt is Bayern coming off the back of that midweek game against Arsenal. Again, how much do they put into that? Do they expend quite a lot of energy in St. Pauli, get a cheap goal? That's the risk I'm willing to take at plus 170 because this St. Pauli team are not very good.
Yep. I have the exact same play. A couple others I'll just mention quickly. I think there's some value in backing Borussia Mönchengladbach at RB Leipzig, or playing at home against RB Leipzig. You get on the handicap plus a quarter of a goal at plus 103. Mönchengladbach are in some good form right now. And Leipzig away from home, 10-10 in terms of goals scored and goals conceded. At home, I'm not betting against Leipzig right now because they found some really good form, but away from home, I think it's a decent enough spot for Borussia Mönchengladbach. I also like, the big game this weekend, by the way, Bayer Leverkusen and Borussia Dortmund. I don't know how you're feeling about this. I was trying to figure out the best way to get on side to get a bet in this game, but I think it's just betting Leverkusen on the handicap, which is zero. Again, it's a draw no bet at minus 107. Dortmund have shown this ability to play really well in games and throw it away. I think it's a really bad mix at a very difficult place to play against a team in Leverkusen coming off that win against City. Like the new manager sorting things out, straightened things out with Leverkusen, and they look much more of a complete squad. So I think I'll back like the really informed team right now in Bayer Leverkusen, the fact that they're playing at home in that game. Hamburg at home, I have a hard time backing them anywhere. But Stuttgart is in some really good form as well at plus 122. I think you're getting some really good value on Stuttgart, who are going to be pushing all the way for a Champions League spot. They're fifth place right now, 7-1-3, and they've been a decent enough team away from home as well, just fifth in terms of the expected point total as well. And finally, Freiburg at home to Mainz. I'll have a nibble at minus 104 for them to win that game outright. Freiburg, by the way, heading into the Europa League fixture, second in the Europa League table. So, they've got off to a decent start to the season. Pasted away from home last week after going up 2 goals against Bayern Munich, but that's Bayern Munich. I think it's a good bounce back spot against Mainz, who's also playing European football on Thursday, which kind of mitigates that factor as well. All right, what's your Ligue 1 play? We're going a little bit off the grid here. We like to include some Ligue 1 plays when we can or elsewhere across European football. So where are you going in France this weekend?
Yeah, it's the big game really. Monaco versus PSG, the top two from last year, and we just have to take PSG on the handicap -1, so you get this full goal, but you're getting a plus 101, which obviously means if PSG win, you get by 1 goal, you get your money back. If they win by 2, 3, 4, 5, then you get a full payout. And the reason is just Monaco have just fallen to pieces since they've sacked their manager Adi Hütter in the October international break. The man that's come in, Pocagnoli, is from Union Saint-Gilloise, he's really struggled to get them going. They've had a real tough time of things since he came in. It started off okay with a couple of wins, but a home defeat to Paris FC and 2 absolute thumpings at the hands of Lens and Rennes. 4-1 apiece, have been really poor. Over the season, they're conceding 1.7 expected goals against per game, but since he took over, that's up over 2 expected goals per game. And PSG, top of the league, once again, looking impressive, especially away from home. They're getting fit. As we touched on Monday, they're first for expected points away, first for expected goals for away, first for expected goals against away, obviously have the best away record as well. So basically, we're backing PSG to win at the very least, and I think they're going to go there and do that, given how Monaco have defended recently.
Yeah, it seems like it's just going to be a 2-horse race, Marseille and PSG. I think that Monaco are the step or 2 below. So we'll see. Again, I'm just waiting to see how healthy PSG is and see this game against Spurs today. I think they're moving in the right direction, but regardless, they've played really well and showed that some of the young players that have come into Luis Enrique's side are up for it, right up for it. So should be a decent enough game, and I understand that backing. Okay, 5 units to play with. We can divvy up those bets however we see fit. it's going to be a plus money week here, episode 66 for me. I got to start crawling out of this hole that I've dug for myself in the early stages. Again, it's still early. And like Jake always says, and Joel Embiid and who else, trust the process. Trust the process. So I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to trust Jake Osgathorpe this week. How are you going to divvy up that 5 units to play with?
Yeah, I'm going to go for 1 unit, 5 plays. Brentford winning both teams to score, plus 244. Everton plus 0 on the handicap, plus 101 against Newcastle. Palace to score 2 goals at plus 118. PSG minus 1 handicap against Monaco at plus 101. And BTTS no and overs in the Bayern St. Pauli game, plus 170.
Okay. I'm going to join you on the Wheeler special, the Bayern Munich. Both teams scored no and the over. Let's go. By the way, you can follow, if you're watching this in Canada, you can follow on One Soccer. We're doing a studio show for Bayern Munich games in the Bundesliga all season long. It's a ton of fun to do. In Serie A, Inter win to 0 against Pisa. Come on, that's a strong lean against Pisa. To lose to
Very good. Very good.
Sorry, I just tried. Let's go 3 in the Premier League. Another win to 0. Man City over Leeds. I think it's a good bounce back spot where you're getting a little bit more juice. It's actually been pushed out to plus 108. Daichi, we're all on board with the great Sean Deitch. Forest 0, the draw no bet at plus 104 at home against Brighton. And let's back Chelsea and the Arsenal, both teams to score no at plus 117. Get another big hitter there for the board. You can follow along, share your comments in the comment section as well. Subscribe, like, you know the drill. Jake, we'll do this all again next week. There's some midweek Premier League games next week that we're looking forward to as well. And you can follow along us both on X at Jake Oz at Gareth Wheeler. Good stuff, buddy. Have a good weekend. And by the way, the toque looking sharp today. Is it that cold in Manchester today?
It's that expensive to get the heating on. Tell you that much. No, it is chilly. It's chilly today. Chilly one. Hopefully, it's going to warm up the next couple of days, and I won't be wearing a woolly hat tomorrow or next week when we record.
I got the opposite of a football hat. Well, American football, Nebraska Cornhuskers. How about that? So.
Nice.
Yeah, they need a good footy team out there. I think there's Omaha in the USL, but that's about it. So we'll leave that for another day. We'll leave it right there. We started off with Super Mario references, and I think that we ended in a pretty super way as well. This has been episode 66 of Pinnacle FC.